Hello guys and welcome back. Obviously this is Wednesday's vlog because just got back from Blackpool. I have got a video for the safari park and everything with the A6 which I'll upload separate. This is just quickly because the guy, if you remember, who I got the Jeep off, the S80, which I did a deal with the Mondeo, he's found himself this. And I must admit, I am rather jealous. I want to quickly show you around it. Because I need to show you what's going on in the garage for a starter. He's just turned up on par and I thought this is a perfect opportunity to get this on the channel. Definitely a car. I told him, I'm not mentioning how much he paid or anything, but if that car had come up and I had seen it, I don't need it. Definitely don't need a 3-door car, but I would have bought it. I'll show you it now. So what we got? A 3-door Saab 9-3, and I personally think these in 3-door look great. And guess what? The arches exist. They're actually here. I've had a tiny little repair, but very, very good. I was telling them I wouldn't even touch those. Get some grease underneath there. They are the best I've seen. I've seen some beautiful examples of these, and there's been nothing left of them, which totally puts me off. I'll get to you, but before, sorry about the wind as well. So obviously it's a 9.3, W Reg 2000. The boots in these things are massive as well. Want me to open the boot? I've got 18 bodies in. There we go. Huge boot. Same as the 5-door basically. Fit out you want in there. But this thing is really solid. They normally rust along here. It's getting yourself a nice example. And again, other arch actually exists. And that is so rare. That is very, very, very good condition. Definitely tell them to get some protection put into those. BBS alloy wheels. Special edition ones. I told them I would get them reconditioned and leave them exactly as they are. Now this is the 2-litre low pressure turbo. I think about 170, 180 brake. And again with the red ignition, the direct ignition cassette, these are the ones to have. Absolutely bulletproof. Make sure the oil gets changed regular so you don't get the oil sludge fault. Great. Automatic this one. Not a mark on it really for its age. W Reg. I just want to show you, it's only got 60,000 mile. Lovely interior, look at that, the seats aren't even worn. And it's a lovely spec, the S-spec, it's all you need. Automatic, air conditioning, you've got all your controls. You've got, like I said, 60,000 mile, front fogs, just lovely with the old Saab key down there. And look at that. I love these velour interiors. Do you know what it is? I actually prefer them. Before you say I'm a liar, I'm not. I really do prefer this over leather. That's so much more comfortable. The only real thing it hasn't got, the winter pack, the heated seats, which I bet you, with my Saab, the heater pads are already in the seats. I bet you there's some wires underneath that aren't connected, and you get 2 switches, and you plug them in. That's the only other thing it hasn't got, the winter pack, which is obviously the headlight washers as well. I just wanted to quickly show you that, guys. Let us know what you think, because I think he's getting himself a damn good car there. So yeah, I'll catch you soon, and I'll show you what's going on. Right guys, just quickly to show you what's in. That guy turned up with the Saab unexpectedly, so I thought the only way I could get it in the video was to quickly start up and do filming. But obviously we're into Wednesday this week. I want to try and keep this week as short as I can, because I've still got everything I've done on holiday. I'm yet to review that to see if it's any good worth watching. So that'll be getting uploaded, and I don't want to overfill my phone with videos, because I don't know if there's space left on it to do it. So this week, just going to be a short one, because I haven't even uploaded part 2 of last week yet, and I only uploaded part 1 of last week on Monday. I'm lost what, to be honest, I've lost what date it is. I was thinking it was Tuesday, the date, it's Wednesday. Right, so what we've got in, a nice C design spec, so like Holly's Astra, bar heated leather. They're pretty much specced out, these. This has just been in for a service, so oil and filter and air filter. This is your Fiat engine. 1.9, they do 2 of them. They do an 8 valve and a 16 valve. The 8 valve's more reliable, the 16 valves are a lot quicker, but a few more problems. But the beauty with this on an 08, it's right on the changeover, yeah, for the DPF, and this one just misses out by having a cat on, so happy days. But like I was telling you, the one that's coming in is identical to this. The flexi joint is actually part of the cat, and this one's already had that repair done. Somebody's welded it in. The guy, James at Tints and Tweaks, was sent it up to him. He put that in. Obviously these come with a factory fitted, believe it or not, stainless steel exhaust. That's full stainless steel, GM there. But what happens is they make the stupid clamps out of not a very good quality metal. So he's used his proper stainless steel welder to put another new bracket on here. And as you can see, that one came off, still crumbling, that one. And he's put a brand new one on here. And again, the back box, full stainless steel. But them ones are looking a bit ropey, but they're fine for now. We're going to get them to look at them. So yeah, just wanted to show you this. Also, it's had a new in fact, it had a new caliper on here a few weeks ago at this side, and this one wasn't far behind, so we've just fitted a new caliper to that one. The front tyres, let you guys discuss this one. What do you think about that for an MOT? Pass or fail? I know a lot of you will be screaming at your TV now going, fail. Do you know what it is? It isn't. It's a pass and advise. The tread is well above 1.6 mil across more than 3/4 of the tyre, and on these two outside bands, which is not part of your 1.6 mil, all of this here and all of that there can be defective of tread, completely bald, and it will still be a pass and advise. But these are the awful kind of tyres we don't like passing. But there's no cord exposed, nothing, no cords, no steel rid, like, you know, like the belting inside of them, wires, nothing. That's just a bit of water. Little bit of tears on here, but if you open up them tears, you cannot see nothing inside of those. Just dirt, basically. Nothing. So this is a straight pass and advise. Obviously, slightly worn on the inner edge. They are getting the tyres on. We're just, for what money we can make getting these done at the minute, it's pointless. We're too busy, so we're just going to send him to get his own tyres sorted. Really, the result of this is nothing to do with the tracking, nothing to do mechanically on the car. It's because the tyre pressures keep going down because the inside of the rims are corroded. So when these tyres are off, they're going to have to get cleaned up and new tyres put on, and that'll be problem solved. It's just been getting run with flat tyres too much. So that's done. While I've been on, we've done a bit of greasing around the subframes on these. I was telling you about the Astra Gs. Them ones used to come with the same as this, and these actually rot out the subframes. So on this one, it's been off enough times. I've sprayed it, it's been protected. But these keep themselves very, very well indeed, these. Hardly any rust whatsoever on the chassis of these. Bodies, whatever you want to call them. Nothing. The sills are perfect. Little bit round here. Literally just surfaced that. Coated that. Back subframe. Coated that. They even use alloy bottom arms so they don't rust through. I've just coated around the back subframe, which are the metal parts, and it's great. So really, this car is a good one, actually. It's a car I would recommend. The Fiat engines are a bit of a letdown on them, unfortunately, but there's nothing you can do. I would like a nice 2.2 DTI in one of these, I must admit, but they only come up with about an 06, the pre-facelift ones. These all had the Fiat engines. Obviously, the one with pure silver CDTI is the 120, 150 as the red, but that stopped around about this time as well, so it became very confusing to know which one you had. And it became even more confusing working out which one had the cat and the DPF, which I'll show you when it's down on the floor. How you can tell if it's a DPF model or a cat model by just simply looking at an identification plate, which I'll show you. So yeah, that's this one. We've got this Zafira in, which needs an exhaust, and as you can see, right from the front, the flexi was blown here, which is very common for these. The new sensors are going in, and obviously there's a sleeve joint here, 4 hangers. And we're saving the back box because it's a genuine GM one. Again, partly stainless steel, which my dad's just on with there. And like I'll show you, proper GM. It's like a stainless steel. And what my advice with these is keep them going as long as you can. As unfortunately, you can't buy these things from Vauxhall and that. They cost an absolute fortune. But keep your original exhaust going for as long as you can. Because these aftermarket ones, and this is the first time I will criticise parts we use because you simply can't get anything else. Aftermarket exhausts are crap. Literally, you're lucky to get a couple of years out them and they're knackered. But the only other two options is stainless steel, custom made, costs a fortune, or the dealer part only, which you simply don't even want to go there. So yeah. But all these aftermarket exhausts are pretty much as bad as each other. But they fit okay nowadays. They're fitting a lot better, but that's just how it is. And again, do not use exhaust paste or putty. Use RTV. It is high temperature, and I'm telling you one thing, it doesn't half make a difference. And it does go up to high temperature there. Black RTV really does work well. And obviously we've replaced the fitments on there onto the cat. So that's this one ready. But these lambda sensors are very common to break. We had a spare one ordered in, so if you're ever dealing with these, always use the heat on them, but always have a secondary sensor, a new one to put in, because if you snap it, it's game over. That's that, guys. Obviously you can see we're putting the new exhaust on that. This is what was left of the one. I'll just quickly show you it. Blown on this flexi joint here, as they always do. And this was the original GM exhaust, unfortunately not stainless on the centre box for some reason. And this was blown right there, cracked. As you can't really get in there to weld because it was all the way around. That's that. To be honest, as the Sprinter van, unfortunately, I think it's developed the leak again on the power steering. So I think it's going to be a pump this time, because like I mentioned, the reservoir tank is part of the pump. Not good. We'll check that this afternoon. I've got to look at a car for a lady. I'm debating. There's a car that I'm thinking about maybe buying. But like I said, it's a 16 plate car. It's a lot more money than I normally spend, and it's got a fault. It's cutting out actually at highway speed, motorway speed, 60, 70, 50 mile an hour. But it is a 16 plate car. So it's a lot newer than I've ever owned, and it's something I personally would take a punt on. But it's going to be substantial money. So naturally a 16 plate car, even with a fault, is a lot more than I would spend on an absolute minter of a car that I use. But to be honest, I would like a newer car where I can just rely on it and be there. And I know that sounds really stupid, and you're like, well Dan, it's a 16 plate car and it's unreliable. Yeah, well obviously I would get on top of that and fix it. It's had all the timing belt done, £500 worth at that, 80,000 mile, and it's got all the bits and bobs I need. And to be honest, for Holly as well, I just want a car where it's free tax and everything. It just means I can jump in it and be done. And since I've paid not a great deal of money for it, it doesn't have to be a show car or nothing like that. Then I can focus my attention on my projects. Obviously I've got the Mondeo, the A6, the ZX and the ML. Don't know, we'll see, because it is still a bit more money than expected. It's got a nasty mark on the back end, and when she's going to trade it in, clearly she's getting retail prices for it, or trade-in prices without them knowing about that fault. So I can't compete. If they're offering £4,000 for it, for example, that's £4,000 with just a bit of damage on it, not knowing it's got an issue with possibly the injectors or something where it's cutting out, or something expensive. They don't know that. So I've told her I'm interested in the car, but I'm not going to offer you what the people are offering you where you're trading it in. But I said, just remember, nowadays these traders have got some kind of legal obligation. If it's a £500 banger, nobody cares less. They generally go to auction or scrap. If it's £2,000 or £3,000, again it's auction or scrap. But if it's what they're offering, probably £5,000 or £6,000 for it, I think they have got something. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a car salesman, but they're not going to go handing £7,000, £6,000 out for something, sell it to somebody, the thing stops. Then I don't know. I don't think they have got comeback on you as such, but it's not nice when you've bought a car off them, and if you've got to take it back for anything, they're going to be like, they've shafted us. They will have to do their work by law for you, the car that you bought off them, but things could get a bit dodgy. So I've offered her either I can sell it privately with the fault as known, consider it myself, or I can assist her trading it in. But I didn't really want to be putting my name to it, saying, oh look, we're sending such and such down, they get that car, I'm not mentioning names, and then they know I've recommended it to them, and then they get a dud car. It doesn't look good on us. So I don't know, we'll see how things will go. Anyways, cracking journey. I will be uploading some info on the A6, how it did on the trip, with Safari, Blackpool and everything. Sorry if it's not to your taste, guys, but I just thought I'd do something a bit different. I get sick of keep doing cars. I do like to be able to mix things up a bit and do family days out, holidays, things like that. It's my honest opinion of the place of Blackpool, so if you don't like it, don't watch it. But it's just my opinion. A lot of people call Blackpool a shithole and that. It is behind the scenes, yes, I'll say that, but it's part of the holiday. You can't just live your life on the seafront and that. You've got to walk around and view where you really are. And I've give what I class as an honest review of Blackpool, without being too much in my face and my family time. I have included a lot of it. Sorry, I've had a sneezing fit. I have included as much of it as I can, but let us know what you think. On the other subject, I forgot to mention this one. While I've been away for the last week, few days, and into last week, I've noticed if you guys go back and watch my reveal video on the Mondeo, my high mileage hero, that video has got over 3,000 views. It has just gone absolutely crazy. And you guys tell me, have I done something different on that video to what I do on any of my other videos? Most of my videos within a couple of days reach 200 or 300 views. Within a month they hit about 800 to 1,000, and then after that I sort of lose track to really be looking at them. But this thing hasn't even been on 2 weeks, and I don't know now, I haven't checked today, it'd probably be about 3,500 views, 80 odd likes, comments left, right and centre. The only thing I have done, when I noticed it was so popular, I've shared it on 3 Mondeo sites on Facebook, but it was way up above 3,000 before I did that, so that's not why it's at that level. Something I've done on that video is at the phrase high mileage hero. Mondeo, I've had the Mondeo V6 Gear X that you've all seen a few months ago, the red one, and I've wrote everything on there about Mondeo Estate on the tags. I don't know. Let us know, guys. Have I done something magic on that video? Who knows? I would be very interested to find out. But anyways, I'm going to leave that here today. I may quickly cut in with a Sprinter, but he's going to be standing over us, so there's not much I can do with that. I've got somebody to drop in a car off at 4. That Vectra's going for MOT at 3. So I'll probably leave it there, guys. 12 minutes, plus the walk around that Saab. I'll catch you tomorrow on Thursday's vlog, and it'll be a nice short weekly vlog, and I can catch up on all my videos with you guys. Catch you soon. Just a quick 2-minute video because I totally forgot. I said I would show you with these how you see if they're DPF or not. Nothing to see under here, I'm just showing you this. With it being the Fiat engine, always look down here on these in the Safiras as well. This pipe rots out very commonly and you'll lose all your coolant on them and overheat them. Plus the EGRs are a nightmare. I would advise if you get a remap done on one of these, get the EGR valves just switched off because they're nothing but a pain. This has had like 2 or 3 new ones on in the 10 year they've had it. Original equipment ones fitted by us, and in the end it just got blanked off because it was just an absolute pain. And again, as for MOTs, there's nothing to see. It's buried down there. It's just a plate within a pipe you can't see. Not part of the MOT, so don't panic. Right, so under here, obviously oil filter's done, air filter's done. Pain in the arse, these. There's a side light bulb out, and we had to take the air box apart anyway to do the air filter. There's an inspection panel under the wheel arch liner. But no, there isn't actually. There isn't on these. So yeah, whole air box out to get into them. So that would have had to have been done anyway. But yeah, this is the 8 valve 120 brake. Not bad actually. I know that Fiat and stuff are going on them. It's all right. You know, they do drive okay. I just wanted to show you how you'd find out. Right. So you want to know, and there is no other way of knowing. Trust us. Is you find the chassis plate here. We'll pull that out so it stops beeping. Like I've showed you for the MOTs, that's your smoke reading on this car, 1.30. That means it's got a cat. Any reading at 0.50 or less, you've got a DPF. Any figure higher than 0.50 is a cat. So if it was 0.70, that would be a cat. 0.45, DPF. Generally, this figure always for DPFs is 0.50. So anything higher than 0.50, like this is 1.30, it's got an old-fashioned cat. It's the only way you'll know. And like I said, this being the design spec, it's got the full climate control system, 6-speed M32 gearbox, pretty poor. This has already had a gearbox rebuild in. I forgot to mention them actually, yeah. Actually, on that grounds, no, you're better off with the DTIs because the DTIs come with a 5-speed. Just quickly on this, before it comes down, it's a full new exhaust. Like I said, we've recycled the stainless steel original back box, which is definitely worth keeping. And that's the full system fitted. Just needs a test drive to see if we've got any blows on the joints. So there we go. Done. I just want to go back to this. So yeah, unfortunately, these did a facelift, a mild facelift in 2006-7ish. From the ones with the more square headlights to this. And unfortunately, that's when the 2-litre DTIs, for emission reasons, like what's in my Astra outside, had to go the journey. And they were followed by these, but that totally passed my mind there. All of these, the 8-valve 120 and the 150s, come with a 6-speed gearbox, Fiat gearbox called the M32. Just Google it, it's known as the chocolate gearbox. The 6-speed, that's just worth avoiding, guys, really, because it still costs to this day a lot of money. What happens is the diff basically starts to come loose and wears through the gearbox housing. So this has had a new reconditioned gearbox done. It's only got 90,000 mile on. Same with the Safiras and Signums. New alternator, new EGR. It's had the timing belt done. The guys looked after this. This would be a good one to buy if he ever sells it, because it's had all of the major work done. To be honest, there's not really else to do on this. It was even done at Vauxhall, the timing belt. So it's a pretty sorted out car, this one is. And it's a non-DPF model. And it's a design spec. And again, the arches are getting a bit tatty, but remember, don't let that put you off because you've seen how good the car is underneath. It doesn't always work like that, but you would look at this and see all the rust and go, ooh, we'll go and look at one with no rust and it'll be knackered underneath. Massive boots on these, absolutely huge, like nothing else in there, you know, they're just massive. But yeah, good. These all come with cruise control. This being the design spec, auto dip dim mirror, automatic lights, wipers, 4 electric windows, which are a bit weird on these because you only get 2 switches, not 4. So you go, that's front, then you switch it down and then they become back. Really good idea, that. I don't see the point in having 4 switches if you don't need them. But yeah, nice car. Oh, whatever this. Like I say, it's got the factory fit climate control, some kind of rudimentary sat-nav system in it. As you can hear with this now, running nicely with no blows. And that's from cold. Obviously check for any lights on for the sensor. That's the only thing that can go wrong with them. So there you go. Just forgot to mention those few pointers on there. So would I recommend the Vectra P? Definitely. Preferably the pre-facelift with the DTI and a 5-speed gearbox. If you've got to go for one of these, the facelifted ones, just be careful of the petrol ones are fine, by the way. Well, the smaller engines, the 1800 5-speeds, the turbocharged ones use the M32. But yeah, good car. And yeah, definitely if they ever sell this, which they probably won't, they've had it for years, definitely a good car to have. Catch you soon, guys, on Thursday's vlog, or if I catch it, if anything else comes in of interest. Right, guys, end of the day on Tuesday. We looked at that Sprinter van, a little bit of a weep, but we've topped it up. Gonna have to see how it goes. If not, unfortunately, it's gonna have to be a new pump. I think about 400 quid, power steering pump. But we'll see how that one goes. Getting this car in now, which is meant to be in for tomorrow, so class this as part of tomorrow's vlog on Thursday. I am seriously mixed up with my days this week. This is your Vauxhall Grandland. I don't know. Let's have a look what they're called. Yeah, Grandland X. I don't know why they use the X, meaning like 4-wheel drive, because they never are. And then turbo. That's old school. And the best is if you get the diesel. They're called a Turbo D. It's been a long time since I've seen Turbo D written on the back of a car. But yeah, mainly, like I've already mentioned to you, this is basically a C4 Aircross, a Citroen C4 Aircross. More or less, that's what it is. Few little changes, but that's what they are. Not a bad looking car, and most definitely not a bad spec. But my biggest issue with these is, and don't get us wrong, the drive alright. I'm not going to pull them apart. The drive alright. It's just, as you can see, this is a big car, yeah? Nissan Qashqai size? Definitely. And all that you've got under the bonnet. But don't get us wrong, they pull themselves along well enough. Is you've just got a little 3-pot 1.2 petrol with what I've already explained to you. Right in there. Down there in that corner. That's your wet belt. Just so you can see it again, I've showed you before. There's the belt. There's the cam. I don't know if you can see it there. Just there. Right on the edge. That's the black rubber timing belt. Doesn't like to zoom in very well on there. And like I've said, as you can see, I'll just put the oil cap back on. It's actually in for an oil change. It's okay if you look after them and you use them correctly, but inevitably that belt will need changed, and you've got all that governs down there which all has to come off. So it's not just like taking a few timing cases, bolts off, and a chain that's more or less the life of an engine. If they're well looked after, these belts won't. They definitely will need changed at whatever interval they are, which is a lot of expense. So these engines are great in theory. All the emissions that they do, they meet all the regulations, but unfortunately, when these things become of age, you're going to see a lot of people neglect them and not bother getting them done, and they're going to end up needing a new engine when they snap. But like I've said, there's no lying, is there? There's your Citroen and Peugeot logo. It's not like that, what is it we had in the other day, the Mercedes, where they were trying to lie about what they were. At least these guys are being open and honest enough. I mean, there's no hiding it. We all know Citroen Peugeot. What is it? Stellantis Group took over. You know, there's your Citroen Peugeot on those. I'll just rub that off with my finger a bit. There you go, Citroen Peugeot. Just in case anybody doesn't believe us, because you won't believe us how many times when people come in with these Vauxhalls or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, it's a Citroen. And they're like, yeah, it's not, it's a Vauxhall. It's like, no, it's a Citroen. It's got a Vauxhall badge on, but it's a Citroen. There's nothing Vauxhall on it. The only few things of Vauxhall on it will be the badge, and that's it. And honestly, people who know me and trust me still give you that bit of blank look when you go, or they bring their Mercedes in, you're like, yeah, it's got a rental engine in. Oh, has it really? No. Yeah, it has. You know, until you actually have to show them. So that's why I do these videos, guys. I'm not pulling the car to bits, but it is nice to know. So many people, when you tell them, they're like, oh, well, can they do that? It's like, they seem to be able to do whatever they want these days, these car manufacturers. Like I said, if you went and bought a set of Nike trainers in a box and you opened them when you got home after paying £100 for them, and they were Primark specials, you'd sharp have an issue, wouldn't you? Like, when you're buying a Mercedes, you expect a Mercedes, not a rental engine. Like, when you're buying a Vauxhall, you expect a Vauxhall. But anyways, that's enough of that. But what I will say, this car is absolutely packed with tech. But again, how long will all of it last? Like I'm saying with these engines, how long will they last? They pull along very nicely, but when they start going wrong badly, it's going to be an issue. But like I said, he hit a puddle a few weeks ago, and it's knocked a bit of this off, and that's been pushed back. Now, you like to say, you know, when we're hitting water, I know water's got a lot of force, literally, like the acts of physics. But should things really be doing that when you hit a puddle? And this ripped off, which he had to replace in the inner liner. So he's asked me to push that in, which I will have a go when I've got the under tray off. Yeah, so this is in for oil and filter change. Landguard underneath. Of how much I can get, I don't know, because obviously I'll be taking the under tray off to do the oil. I'll get round all the front subframe, and we'll see how much of the underneath is even accessible. But anyways, on to the positive things about this vehicle is the spec. It is unbelievable. It's got everything. I mean, there's not much more you could actually ask for. The only thing it actually hasn't got are LED, proper decent lights. It's just got your old school bulb filaments. I really did expect this would have xenons, factory fitted LED or xenons, but it hasn't. But anyways, move on to what we're looking at here. Full heated and cooled. Oh, it really doesn't like not having the handbrake on. So we're going to have to switch on the ignition to shut it up. I'll just put the damn handbrake on just to shut it up. Right, so we've got memory seats. There's on the passenger seat, there's some button here which does some kind of adjustment, which I'm not going to touch because I don't even know what it does. I don't want it to suddenly start folding seats away and God knows what. This is a good system on Vauxhall. 1-star, Wi-Fi ready. Emergency system as well if you crash. But this passenger seat's got this thing here. It must move the base around and stuff. We'll have a quick look in the back. I thought it might have had the heated rear seats like some of them do, but it hasn't. You've got your USB charging point in the back there, as well as ventilation, which is nice to see, and there's a socket down there, which I'll get to at the other side. It's easier to get into with the tray. Probably an automatic tailgate, is it? Or not? Let's have a go. Yeah, automatic tailgate. Like I say, it's a nice spec one, this car. Bit of a high lip, but still perfectly usable. 12 volt power output, nice to see. And your close boot button. Obviously the massive fuel caps for the diesel ones with AdBlue, but this obviously doesn't have it because it's petrol. I'm just going to move it back a little bit, so just bear with us. Don't know how well you can see down there, but it's got a full 220 volt 3-pin plug. The light is terrible, you can't see, but I can assure you it is there. I knew I should have just done this outside, but I need to crack on and get some work done, guys. So, starting off, A6. It's got all sorts. 4 electric windows, electric folding mirrors, heated seats, electronic adjustment. But when you get in here and you actually start the thing up, I'm not going to actually start it because I want the engine kept cool, but just, switch the ignition on. It's got all sorts. Right down to, you've got your... Yeah, so down here you've got all sorts. It's even got the heaters. Somehow Vauxhall have acquired, and Citroën Peugeot, you probably can't see that in the glass. It's got the full proper Ford like heated windscreen, which is controlled by that, as you can see with the line through it. I noticed a few Corsas started having that on a few years ago, so GM must have gotten the rights to that. They are fantastic, they really are such a good idea for clearing steam or ice off the window within seconds. I mentioned full heated seats, and also cooled seats. If you notice, they go blue, and you can really hear them go as well when they kick in. So yeah, it's got all the nice spec, as you would imagine, aircon, but all of this down here. What is that? ESP, tyre pressure monitoring, lane control, stop start, parking, rear child locks, obviously electronic handbrake, heated steering wheel. Again, I always think that's a weird place to have it in the cruise control settings. So this heated steering wheel, you think you'd have it somewhere on the heated seats, but I suppose it's on the wheel, but it's just not somewhere where you would expect it. You know, it's still automatic main beam assist and all sorts up here on it. That comes up. Obviously the spanner light's on, we need to reset that service light. Automatic lights, wipers, you name it. I've actually got, this car requires, the guy asked for them, the wipers aren't the best on it, so a set of genuine Valeo headlamp wipers. And by the way, Valeo to the Citroen mechanism that's on these is original, not Bosch. So we'll get the wipers changed on it, do that. And as you can hear, that's the engine running there. Just your 3-cylinder. It's the only thing, I think these would be nice if I just went to that bit more effort of joining up with, you know, like a decent company, you know, but unfortunately everything's down to cost, you know. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's got the full glass roof, this one. Full panoramic roof, which is rather nice. I do like, a lot of people don't like them, but I do think that is nice on a hot day. But the only thumbs down for me with these is it's a bit like what a lot of the Hondas are like. That's all it does, it doesn't open. I think if you go to the effort of having a panoramic roof, it is nice for them to actually open. Like, that's nice to see outside. Good, great, yeah, fine. But it is nice, like on my C-Class on the Merc and that, where they can lift up or move back. I know it's more to go wrong, but it is what you want. If you want a panoramic roof, it is nice on a nice day to have the roof open, you know. But yeah, this thing's just full of all sorts, keyless, you name it. There'll be loads of stuff I've missed. I'm just giving you a brief tour of the info on it. But what I am going to quickly do now is to reset the service light. Because as you can see, even when you turn the car off and everything, this spanner light remains on. There you go, guys. Resetting the light, trying to do this one-handed. Countdown timer. And that's it, done. Reschedule done. Spanner light out. And off of the ignition. Now the spanner light is gone. Switch it back on. As you can see, it'll come up once you press this. Check through here. Will come on once you get through those menus. Clear. Normally, it'll tell you there, service due, 12 month, 16,000 mile. I most certainly would not be leaving that oil in that engine for 16,000 mile with that wet belt. And onto that note, we use the proper oil, which is for this engine, which has got the proper PSA marker for that wet belt. I can't remember, I'll need to check. I'm sure it's the 020, oh no, 030. It's one of the two. I've got the proper stuff I've showed you in the cabinet. Has to be the right grade. Do not be tempted to put the wrong oil in these engines. Trust us, you will suffer in the long run. It won't happen overnight, but it will degrade the belt. It has to have a special chemical in the oil which keeps the magic rubber belt correct. Now what we're going to do is change these wipers. I'm not really going to film it because it's not a great deal to see, and I'm not messing around with wipers in case it slips out your hand and smashes the heated windscreen. You just simply push those down, pull them out, and the new ones fit in exactly the same. As you can see there, they just go on, slide out. Try to do it one-handedly. There's the wiper off. Gently place that on the screen, and there you go. There's the wipers. The blades have just gone hard, just like that. But again, do not faff with them wipers. If you don't know what you're doing, and always have a golden rule: do not have them lifted right off the windscreen, or if you do have 2 points of contact, have the arm resting on your arm. Pull the blade off, and that means if you drop it, all it's going to do is drop onto your arm, not onto the screen. Very important. When I get these new wipers stuck on, get it on the lift, and it'll be tomorrow now. Come back to you when I've got the under tray off, and we'll do the oil and filter, and I'll spray the Landguard on. Catch you on right there, Thursday's vlog, guys. Hello guys, welcome back to Thursday's vlog. Just a few things to show you. We've got this yet again, another Vectra in, exactly the same as the one yesterday, but this one's got a few more miles on. How many's this got on now, Harry? About 219,000, so it beats the Mondeo as a high mileage hero. And to be quite honest, when you look at it, it's exactly the same kind of condition as the other one, because that had rot on the arches. I just thought I'd just show you underneath. It's been getting a new cat fitted, like I was mentioning last week to you. Nothing wrong with the cat on the other one, but this flexi joint here, because of the Fiat engines in them, this is Fiat's favourite trick, It's got the downpipe straight from the turbo to a flexi, which was wrong with the other one, and you've got to replace the whole cat because there's no join in them. But luckily they're not huge money, and with this being a diesel, a cheap cat doesn't really make a huge deal of difference. The new cat, and also new rear discs and pads on it, so they're nicely done. And that was a little bit of a mistake. Harry thought it needed front discs and pads, so unfortunately the poor guy fitted new front discs and pads and says, right, that's it, the car's ready for MOT, lads. And we looked at it and went, you haven't done the brakes? I have. Front ones, he's done the wrong ones. But he's alright, he's up for the crack. So obviously now it's got new rear discs and pads, new front discs and pads, and a new front pipe. But again, this is I just wanted to show you, I mean, there's a bit of corrosion on it, but crikey, it's absolutely solid still. Sills and everything, same as the other one. It just shows you 200,000 mile, 219,000 mile really does not make a car bad. Subframe's all in good nick. So yeah, but this is the 150, and I'll bring it down and I'll show you again the non-DPF one, which is actually these things fly along. The 150s without the DPF are the ones to have once you get on top of a few of the problems. So yeah, I'll just show you with this green Crossland or whatever it's called. Been on and done the oil and filter on this. So there's a new filter on, oil's been drained, and again I've showed you enough times, you know. Yeah, there's your genuine Vauxhall filter. Yeah, so yeah, that's what it is on these. But I just wanted to show you just how black the oil is in this thing. Again, it's not done many miles on it, so I just thought I'd show you. That's actually it there. Look at that. That's a petrol. So like I'm saying, these things, you're kind of living on a prayer a little bit with them, really, you know. If the ones that get looked after, yeah, they're going to last. But like I was saying the other day, that a 1.2 engine, 130 horsepower in such a big car, and oil like that as well, and it's not down to it not being changed. This car's got full dealer history. Who knows if it's been changed, but to be fair, it probably has. So yeah, definitely something to be made aware of with these. Change the oil nice and regular. But this car, I think, has been doing lots and lots of local driving before this guy got it, so that's probably how it's getting so black, through doing a lot of town driving and just back and forth to the shops. So what we're going to get on with this, which I'll update you on, I'll do a quick before. I did yesterday, but the light was fading. While this covers off, we're going to be doing the coating on it. Also, all of this underneath with the Lango guard. And obviously up here, I showed you all this yesterday. I'm just showing you a bit of a before and after. But the whole underneath of the car is unprotected, completely from the factory. Nothing whatsoever on it, bare metal. So it'll be a good job getting all this done. So I'll come back to you when we get this Vector down. I'll just quickly show you a few of the things about the 150 to the 120, if we can see. Bonnet's open, so I'll be able to show you. Actually, I forgot to show you this. That's what's, I mean, obviously it's been damaged a bit more whilst getting removed, but that's your flexi pipe where it's detached, where it was blown. Obviously for an MOT fail, all the fumes go straight up into the cabin and can actually poison you, and that's the old cat. But it's just an aftermarket one, I believe. I'll just double check. I'm sure it is. So it's not really worth anything. Diesel cats aren't worth a great deal anyway, but yeah. So I just wanted to show you, this being the 150, like yesterday I was telling you, the old red TI means it's the 150. And on this plate on the door, like I said, if you're going to buy one of these, you look at this and see how that's there. 1.20, I think the one yesterday was 1.30. That straight up means it's got a cat. If it's 0.50 DPF, let's say it there. Was it 204? So it's not quite near the Mondeo 207. But still, 200,000 mile. Not doing bad at all for one of these, especially with that engine and gearbox. But this is the 150. Which is basically, instead of it being an 8 valve, it's 16 valve. The intake runners on these, on the swirl flaps, can be problematic, but at this mileage, they've probably been removed by now. But these things tuned up. That's that pipe I was telling you that rusts, but it's still looking actually okay on this. Surprising how good this thing looks for the miles. But definitely, the 150s, these can be, once you get on top of them and you get all the major faults done, these can be tuned up to well over 200 brake horsepower. Possibly something, if I know the gearbox has been sorted, something I may be interested in if one pops up. Definitely in a state form, but for me, I would much prefer the 2.2 DTI. Nowhere near as powerful, but really reliable, easy to work on engine. Anyways, I'll catch you soon once I've done the Lango Guard to the Vauxhall, whatever it's called, Crossland, Grandland X, that's what they're called, Grandland X. So yeah, I'll catch you when I get that done, guys. Trying to keep them short this week, so we've got a nice, easy to upload weekly vlog. Catch you soon. Right, hello and welcome back. The final part of Thursday's vlog. It's just been manic here. I've had the S-Class in with the fuel tank issue, because that's in next week for a few jobs as well. So I just thought I'd run through. This was done a while ago, so it's starting to dry, so it doesn't is shiny normally is what they do. You've seen I've had this under tray off. It's all been done underneath there, as well as when I did the oil and filter the front subframe. All the underbody done, the Lango Guard. Don't know how that shows up with the fluorescent light. So I've had all these done underneath there, into the box sections and the sills, and all around the back end. I'll just grab a light and show you, but at the minute I'm shining at a light and trying to point the light at the same time. All's been done up there. You may not see that it has been, but it has, because obviously this product is clear, it's see-through, it's invisible, so it's perfect for new cars like this. Even when they're under warranty, they do not like you putting loads of clag underneath. All this is under here, onto the axle, and even on the springs. I've also coated those with clear wax oil, the brake pipes. So there we go, all done. And I've obviously done up into the wheel arches, which you can see, I don't know if that shows up how shiny the spring is and that under there. Into the wheel arches, I've done a few bits under the bonnet. So there we go. This is the key time to do these. You want to be doing them on a car when it's this kind of condition. It's when they're in this condition, before they've even had a proper winter, you get straight in there and get them coated. And that way, it's on the bare metal from new. When they start to rust, you put it onto the corrosion, and then the corrosion flakes off. You even no matter how well you prepare it and grind it back, when you're putting it onto corrosion, you never get as good finish as on basically what this is, a brand new car on everything. And with it being invisible, it looks nice and original, not full of clag. I'm always suspicious of a brand new car or even an old car when they're full of clag underneath. It's just not the best of look, really. So there we go, that's this done. I'll quickly just go through this, because I'll show you tomorrow. This is really tomorrow's job. Vauxhall Mokka, 67 plate, 1.4 turbo petrol, in for oil and filter, air filter and MOT. Not a great deal to speak about with these. Would I have one? No. It's called the Mokka X. Does that mean it's four-wheel drive? No. Not with these. They're a bit of a funny one. You see, the Astra is a really good car, and these are not based on the Astra. This back suspension's all different to the Astra. Not really as good, to be quite honest. They're okay, but of these little kind of cars, there's so much better out there, like the Kia Sportage, Hyundai Tucson. RAV4's a bit bigger than them. I don't know what the Toyota equivalent is now, but the Honda CR-V, all that. These, what lets them down majorly is the engines are absolutely rubbish. I'm not going to bring the car down too much, because it's not that bad. We rarely get any problems with them, like the suspension setup and that. It's nice and basic, they're fine. But the real letdown with these is the engines and gearboxes. We've known of a few first up, we'll start with the engines. This one's the 1.4 petrol turbo. You get the 1.6 turbo petrol. I think you get a normally aspirated 1.6, which is probably the most reliable one, but very underpowered. And you get a 1.6 diesel, which is that horrible Fiat kind of engine, and they've got the timing chain that runs down behind the gearbox, which are renowned. They're a very, very bad engine, so massively avoid the 1600 diesels in these, because they're a huge job to change the timing chains, which do go wrong. There was a recall on the tensioners, which I think Vauxhall have now finished the recall, and you've got to pay to have it done. And we've had a few of these, mainly I think the diesel ones or the petrol ones, I can't remember which ones, where the clutches are going on them at very, very low mileage, and Vauxhall say it's a known fault. Don't know why, but yeah, we've had quite a few major issues with these. And the turbocharged petrol engines are massively renowned as well for burning out cylinder 3, literally burning through the piston. I don't know if it's an issue with the mapping from the factory, and this isn't people who've done remaps or nothing like that. This has all been done from the way they leave the factory, where every time they come in with a misfire, and here the misfire is they've actually burnt a hole through the piston, and they burn oil, the timing chains rattle on them. So Yeah, definitely I would say, unless it's the 1.6 non-turbo, which Tim, if he watches this, he went along those lines and they got one, and I'd service another one, top of the range one with that engine in. They're certainly not good performers as in performance, but they are reliable, I will say. So they're the ones to go for if you must have a Mokka. But like I said, really go for a Kia Sportage or Tucson if this is really what kind of car you want. So we'll leave that there. I'm going to get this Vauxhall off the lift, and what was I going to do? I'll check the oil on it. We've done the service reset, we've done the book, so it's pretty much ready to go. I'm going to give it a run back to the guy's house, because this stuff needs to set overnight. And as you can see, it's lovely and dry, because if it starts to rain, that's it. 4 hours, they can't be used after they've been treated. So I'll catch you soon on tomorrow's vlog on Friday. Hello guys, and welcome back to Friday's vlog. Last one. I don't know if I'll get something in later on. If not, I'll just get this uploaded. Just thought I'd quickly show you what I've got in. Yet another Vauxhall and yet another exhaust. It's all I've done. So like I went through it last night and showed you. You know, back to the old sayings now with turbo written on the back. I thought that had stopped in the 1990s. But yeah, so there's the one from the Vectra. There's this one that I've done again on the Flexi where they go. Obviously, with this being the turbo one, it twists right under through the subframe, so that's been replaced again for a petrol car. A diesel car, unless the blow like that one was major, it doesn't affect the emissions whatsoever. But with a petrol car, if you've got a leak at the front here, it sets the lambda readings, which these sensors control. So since it's after that, it lets air, basically oxygen, in, and it makes all the readings wrong. So if you've got any kind of a blow on a petrol exhaust, it will affect the emissions test. Because I don't know if a lot of people realise this or not, but people think like on diesels and stuff to petrols, they are totally different. A petrol emissions test is a gas test. It actually analyses the gas. There's about 5 different gases: carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, parts per million on your hydrocarbons, all sorts of stuff. And it's a quite intensive test. Like petrols, if you've got a defective cat, if there's a blow on the exhaust, if the engine isn't quite running right, if it hasn't been serviced, you know, like a clogged air filter, knackered spark plugs, whatever, it's very difficult to get them through an MOT. A diesel, however, like I show you on this Renault, is a smoke test only. You just simply put the pipe in the exhaust and rev it. And all you do is you put a figure in. Like I've showed you this one, 0.9. That is a very, very, very low reading for a cat. Now, if it was a DPF, remember what I said, 0.50 or less means it's got a DPF. 0.50 or more usually is a cat. Normally, these are at like 1.5, 1.2. This is at 0.9. This is an incredibly low reading for a cat. But basically, all you do for a diesel is put the pipe in the exhaust, rev it. It detects how many parts per million of soot comes out, and if those figures of parts per million are above the manufacturer plate, which is on this case at 0.9, so if you rev this car and it goes at 0.9 or 0.8 or 0.5, it's a pass. If it comes out at 1.0, it's a fail. But the annoying thing is that this year, roughly, I think the default reading for these are about 1.7 or 1.5. So the only thing is, with these, when you're into DPFs and some older ones, like my A6, like on an 06, the default reading is 3.0. So just pretend this car was a bit older, it was an 06 plate. Wait, 08 plate. I think after 08, it goes to 1.5, 1.7. Then after that, it drops to 0.7 after 2014, I believe. So the only thing is, you could take this car in. It's tested at 0.9, even though the legal limit for this is 1.7, I believe. I'll have to double check that, guys. I'll just... There's different criteria for different years of cars. But the only thing is, you see, this is just a sticker. What a lot of people do is if this car fails at 0.9, you just peel the sticker off and it automatically goes to the default value, which is 1.5, 1.7. So it's a bit unfair, really, because if this car had, like, you know, 3.0 written on, it would pass all day long, just because your manufacturer's put this stupid plate on, and it's only on a front end, so who knows that this front end's even genuine to this car. So with diesels, they are very easy. There's lots of ways you can get them through tests, i.e., you know, making sure you give them a good blast before going in, fuel additives, and they're just a rev test. That's all that are detecting soot. Plus, there's all these things you can do, like I've said, where these plates magically disappear, and then it's automatically at the higher reading. Petrols, there is no way of getting a petrol through other than, again, some good quality fuel, good additive. Make sure it's serviced before going in and give it a good blast. It's not like a DPF on a diesel, but still a good blast on a petrol does clear out the catalytic converter. So yeah, just thought I would do a bit of MOT information there. Diesel tests, walk in the park. Unless you've got a diesel vehicle that is running very badly and smoking excessively, you'll pass all day long for your smoke tests. And again, I don't recommend revving the balls off a car, but if you've got a diesel car with a DPF, don't waste your time, no point. But if you've got a diesel car with a cat, don't ever rev a diesel engine when it's cold. But what I would suggest you do is take it for a drive and get it in second gear and red line. Just check your timing belt's been changed, all this. I'll put a disclaimer here. If it blows up, it ain't my fault. But go down a slip road onto a motorway and just put it in, never rev them to hell in first. Second and third gear, just absolutely floor it without speeding, and you'll see all the shit that comes out the exhaust. Do that a few times, or just make sure the engine is nice and warm, and even just stand stationary. Give it, because this is all the MOT test that does, is give it a hard rev. What you'll do is you'll purge the system. If you remember last week on the vlog, when I showed you out in the yard, that massive big black patch of soot, that was actually off this Megane. And after 2 or 3 hard revs, it clears itself up lovely. So if you drive your car gently all year round, as soon as the MOT tester revs it hard, that's like a whole year's worth of shit clogged up in the exhaust. So it will fail. And if you've got an awkward tester, they'll fail it and go, oh, your car's failed. Most reasonable testers, like I do, I'll purge them a few times before. It actually tells you to do it. I'll purge them a few times before even putting the analyzer in the exhaust. And then that way, you're just getting a pass. It's less hassle for the customer. You don't want to keep recording excessive emissions on an MOT, because it's not good for the customer. Because when they come to sell that car, it's a permanent record on the car's life. And really, there's absolutely nothing whatsoever wrong with the vehicle. It's just the fact if you drive a vehicle carefully all the time, and somebody comes and revs the hell out of it, then yeah, it is going to blast a load of smoke out. So yeah, as a tester, you should be reasonable with things like this. But again, as a customer, I see their point from it. But yeah, there's your difference. Diesel and petrol emissions test, totally different. Bit on the Mokka, like I said, this is your 1400 turbo. Essentially use the right oil, but these are renowned for burning out pistons, fruit of a mapping issue from Vauxhall, which I think they recalled them. And you've got your little filter down there. Always check, some of them have a spring, some of them don't, and they're quite an expensive filter. In this case, I told the guy on the phone, it will probably have the spring, and no, it hasn't. They hardly ever do. I'm like, well, they do. It was wrong, it cocked things up, as well as the new exhaust, which you can probably just see down there, or maybe down there. There it is. I can't even see that. That's just using the camera. So yeah, that's with these. Personally, avoid the turbo ones of these, and if at all possible, it's just not my cup of tea. But if it's what you want, get the non-turbo 1600 one. So yeah, that's what this has had done. Front pipe, oil and filter, air filter, tyre pressures I've done, reset the service light, all that. That's ready to go for test. This is just in for service. Like I say, it's had oil and filter. Awkward oil filter as usual on these K9K Renault engines. Oil and filter, proper Renault oil in, and the air filter, which are a royal pain on these, because you've got to get a right angled screw in behind this battery box, and also the air boxes rattle like nothing else on them. It makes the car sound terrible. So we wedged a bit of rubber in here because that all worn the mounting points. And it's like a different car. It was that awful like booming noise inside the car when it was idling. Awful. Fuel filter, she was debating selling this after the new year. So I told her it's quite an in-depth job. It's right down the wheel arch, wheel off, wheel arch liner off. And there's a little sensor, which I've sent the filter back, I can't show you, that goes in, and if they snap, it's a nightmare. So I just said, look, you've done the important bits. If you decide to keep it after Christmas, New Year, we'll get it in as a separate job for the fuel filter. So yeah, these are the good ones to have, by the way. A non-DPF version, K9K, Megane, and not a bad car. 30 or £20 a year road tax, cruise control, what do you call it, the wireless keyless entry thing. It's okay within its own right at times. TomTom sat nav, cruise control limiter. So yeah, if she does decide to sell this one and it's cheap after the new year, I may consider it purely because of the tax. you know, I like the Mondeo stuff and the A6, but they're like 200-300 quid tax, and it would be nice to have a vehicle like this, what is just 30 quid tax, or 20 quid tax, and if I use it once a month, who cares? Where with the Mondeo and the Audi, it's like 20 and 30 quid out my bank for them to just sit there, you know. So we'll see. I'm not overly keen of Reynolds, but there is one thing: is it's had the timing belt done. The clutch is a bit heavy. There's probably issues there, but we've spent a lot of money on this, doing all the. You seen it the other week. Shockers, was it a spring, bottom ball joints, arms? So yeah, quite a nice dash in these as well. It's a bit different. Probably something I could live with the sat nav and cruise control, and just the clutch is heavy. That's something to remember. And the usual issues, this window doesn't work, but I just constantly, they've always been problems, these. But it's got the keyless entry like that with a card, which I'm not particularly keen of, but it does. So yeah, we'll see what she does after the new year with this one. But again, Scotland SP, you can just see the levels of corrosion in which other ones just don't have. It does prove a point, that. And just quickly on the interior of this Mokka, it's the Elite, so it's the top of the range. So your 4 electric windows, heated seats. I don't know, these things just don't really do it for me. The interior's okay, but seats are nice, but I don't know, it's not for me. Electric folding windows, just a black Vauxhall to me. And it's probably all it ever will be. Makes me wonder if I'm still doing this in 10 years, guys. I don't think I can really get myself excited over many newer cars. So we're going to have to keep to the older 90s, 2000s kind of cars, you know. I just don't think it's going to happen. So yeah, well, I'll leave it here. We're going across to pick a part up for the Jag. The Jag S-Type's coming back in. I've just reminded myself I need to ring Lee, the locksmith. That ignition switch has been 90%, 95% better. It was, I showed you the chart. It was every day, multiple times a day, it wouldn't start. Since we've lubricated the lock, it's only done it once or twice, but the guy still says, I just want it done. So we're going to go for the ignition switch, but unfortunately Jaguar, with all the money they have, don't deliver. So we're going to have to drive all the way across to Silverlink to pick it up. There just is no other way. We're obviously going to have to charge the customer for fuel and time, but there's no other way around it. We're going to have to go and pick it up, but we are going across to a Jaguar showroom. If it's not heaving or whatever, if I can get a few little bits of video in, I will. If I won't, I'll come back to you shortly and end the video. Catch you soon. Right guys, this is not normally how I end Friday's vlog. Truth be told, I seen a nice car and I went to view it. And time's gone on, it's gotten dark. I finished work. So what were the 2 cars I had in? The Mokka and the Megane. They were done, finished, away home. Bit of an incident with the Mokka. The coolant tank started leaking, because we topped it up because it was low. Took it in for test and it started leaking. He had a common fault with them. The sealing ring around what makes the expansion tank into one. It's just a top and a bottom glued together. The glue comes away, very common with them. Luckily, there was one on the shelf at the local parts suppliers. So look, that would have been a right bollocks up if we couldn't have gotten one. And the car would have been stuck in the garage till next week. Anyways, I went to look at a car. A Mitsubishi Pajero, no, not a Pajero, a Shogun V-Reg 1999. Lovely, big thing. It failed its MOT on a bit of welding. It's an import, Japanese import. But unfortunately, it's been in the country a long time. And there was a bit of rot where it had failed on the inner wheel arches and outriggers, like the inner sills. And I had a look. I was getting excited about getting it. I think for the money he's wanting and for what it needs, unfortunately, I don't get involved with welding, guys. It's not my thing. I do a bit, but not. I can't, especially not intricate. I can't say it properly. Paneling and stuff, like box sections right on the inner sill. It curves around and it goes up into the rear inner wheel arch. It's all proper. You need like an English wheel to curve the metal and everything. It's not something I would get involved with. A patch on the sill or something, yeah, but that's it. So anyway, I went to look at that. Not much to speak of, basically. Just quickly, I've walked home with the dogs through the woods. Harvey's finishing his dinner. Little Hunter there. He only eats a little bit. But anyways, guys, he's 1 tomorrow, 29th of October. Come here, Hunter. Hunter, here. Sit. Hunter, what's this? He's too busy eating the food he's eating. Start to put carrots in that food. They get all that on a raw meat diet. They get like mince now. And Harvey has actually lost 4 kilos in a year through just keeping them off the proper, so what they call dog food, which is rubbish, and just giving them 2 little meatballs of 5% fat mince, just normal mince we eat, raw, putting it in that food, a few bits of carrot. They get the cod liver oil and another supplement that Holly's moved somewhere. What is it? This stuff here. Harvey gets that for his joints because he's got a bit of a stiff back leg. 9-year-old, you expect that. So yeah, there's a bit of dog information. Just thought while I'm at home before I end things, we'll just have a quick walk around. We're losing the light, to be honest. Of the old fleet. What's going on? I don't know how dark this looks, but we'll have a look. So there's the A6. It did that. It did the journey to Blackpool and Liverpool. Absolutely fantastic. It hasn't actually moved since we got back on Tuesday night. But like I've mentioned to you, I've got some news to tell you about the miles per gallon it achieved. Absolutely fantastic. The old Mondog over there, that hasn't moved actually since late last week, before we went away to Blackpool. And I think that's looking absolutely spot on. I really do like it without the wheel trims on. So I'm looking forward to giving that a run actually tomorrow. Needs a good drive. Hopefully it starts, which it will, because it's got a new battery on. Just thought I'd give a quick walk around the caravan, guys. Ready set up for the winter. All the water's drained. I know they don't look great, but I don't keep it totally level because I don't want that. When it rains, I want the water to come off and not gather on the roof for it freezing when we get cold weather. Hitch cover. I'm going to connect the electrics up. Obviously I've got the hitch lock on it, and my Bulldog HGV clamp, what they call it. It's for like big vehicles. It's way over the top what you need for a caravan, but my insurance is covered for just one security device with the hitch locks on. Just thought I would add a secondary bit. What I am going to do tomorrow when I get time, my ZX is parked up there in that garage. I'm going to see the guy. It's been a month or so before it's been started. I'm going to go and start that up, let it run, just reconnect the battery up, let it run for 15 minutes, 20 minutes just to get up the temperature, charge the battery a bit. The ML that's in storage, I've put my solar charger on it. I'm going to go and check that on Monday when the guy's at the garage, just to see if the battery's managing to keep topped up with the solar. If it's totally dead, I'll take it away, charge it, and then just disconnect the battery next time round. And when I get 2 minutes, I've got me household electrical connector, so I'm going to connect the caravan up to the mains and obviously just put a wire through the kitchen window, run the dehumidifier in the caravan for about a day, and also while the power's connected up to it, it also charges the battery in the caravan, just to give it a little bit of a winter top up. Not that we've had winter, it's bloody 17 degrees today, excuse me. So that was my plan. Get the caravan sorted, bit of dehumidifier, run the electric through it, charge the battery, start the ZX, go over and check the ML, give the Mondeo a run, and the Audi will probably sit there till Monday, and I'll give that a run. In fact, that still needs cleaned out on the inside. Obviously, if I'm doing that journey to Liverpool and back in Blackpool, just when the kids have been in, quick once over with the Hoover, quick dust around the dashboard, because yeah, I've got OCD. I can't stand the dashboard having dust and stuff on it. So we'll leave it there, guys. Unfortunately, I don't think that Mitsubishi, I will keep calling it a Pajero, a Shogun, is going to go ahead. He wants a little bit too much to say it needs so much for the test. And unfortunately, what it needs, I'm not really that skilled to do that. So I think I might have to leave it. But there is other things in the mix. The 16-plate diesel car, that's not going to happen anymore. A few things have happened over the last few days, which I'll keep private. But I won't be going for that anymore. Basically, the Part X that's been offered for it is way, way above what I want to pay for it. So we'll leave that. So anyways, I hope you all have a good weekend. I haven't got a great deal planned. What have we got on? It's my son's birthday next week, and there's a party on Sunday, because my sister's child, Jacob, Charlie's birthday is the 1st of November, he's the 2nd of November, and there's a year between them, so Charlie's 6, Jacob's 5. But my ex-partner has decided that I can't have him even just for 2 hours for the party on Sunday, so I'm a little bit paid off with that. But you guys out there, or you know, females out there, you'll know how it goes. It's not always fair. So I don't have him for his birthday, which I'm a little bit annoyed at. Like I've mentioned, Hunter is 1 tomorrow, and on the Sunday afternoon, the litter of 10 pups he was part of were all meeting up at a rugby club so they can have a Springer time together. 10 of them meeting each other, brothers and sisters, and I think the mother will be there for their first birthday to have a good run around a private rugby club. So that'll be nice to see. Unfortunately, Mr. Grumpy won't be there because A, he's too old, and B, he gets very protective over Hunter. So if the other dogs are running around with him, the pups, he might get a bit protective and aggressive. So he can either watch from the car or go with his grandma and granda, my mum and dad, out for a couple of hours. Won't you? As you can't be bothered with all that, can you? Are you going to go? I'm sure you'll run yourself till you're absolutely worn out. So we'll leave that there, guys. Catch you on Tuesday's vlog. And again, I'm sure that will just come round like that. Catch you soon. Please, if you haven't already done so, hit the like. If you haven't done so, leave a comment. That's what it's there for. And also, hit the subscribe. And please remember, that Mondeo video I did, Behind Mileage Hero, have a look at the figures on that. Nearly 3,500 views. So if any of you guys haven't watched that yet, or liked it, or left a comment, please do, because I think this is going to be a record breaker. I have absolutely no idea why or for what reason. It's no different than the other videos. But please, share that video, like it, comment on it, and watch it. And everyone helps. And honestly, that video has helped me no end this month. It really has. I'm still shocked of how popular it is for what I can think of. No reason. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Catch you soon.